Hey everybody, it's Meg from Books Off the Beaten Path, and I'm here with my second tag for the day, tag two tags. And this one is from Heather, my dear friend Heather, who I do believe we are soulmates. And this one is called To Reread or Not to Reread. And let's get into it. The questions printed out. Here we go. Do you reread fiction? Why or why? Oh, no. Let me start over. Do you reread fiction? Why or why not? Yes, I reread fiction. I read it for comfort. I read it for comfort, really. I mean, I think that's probably why I read it. I just find that there are certain books that I turn to in times of trouble and in times of distress. And in times when I want to create a certain atmosphere or a certain mood, like the spooky stuff. Okay, do you reread nonfiction? Why or why not? I don't really read a lot of nonfiction. Nonfiction's just not my jam. I have read nonfiction in the past, and I'm not hating on it or anything like that, but people are far more intelligent than I who read nonfiction, and then would reread nonfiction. I'm just not that smart, I guess. If you reread fiction, what kind of fiction are you most likely to choose? Bestsellers, classical literature, genre fiction, such as fantasy, science fiction, romance, and what are your reasons for the choices you've made? I reread. Let me read ahead. Okay, so I have classics. I've reread classics. I've reread mysteries. And I have reread true crime. So I guess that counts as nonfiction. So let me back up to the question number 2, which was, do you reread nonfiction? Yes, I have reread some true crime. Like I've read The Golden State Killer, I'll Be Gone in the Dark a couple of times, and I've read the Ted Bundy, the Anne Rule, The Stranger Beside Me a couple of times. So, but mostly I can tell you what I reread. Like I reread The Red Lamp when I'm really, really in the mood to be spooked out and everything like that. I've read The Wind in the Willows, just for the beauty of it, when I feel like I need something beautiful, because I think the language is so beautiful. And every Christmas I read A Christmas Carol. And that's kind of a tradition of mine. I read that every Christmas. If you reread nonfiction, what kind of nonfiction are you most likely to choose? Well, I just answered that, true crime. I like true crime. And I just got a new book on Lizzie Borden, which hopefully, I'm excited to see that one. Twitch is getting closer and closer. Watch out. Okay, if you've read a book which has been translated from another language, would you reread the same book in a newer or different translation? Well, this would be a question more for Heather than for me, because I am not widely read enough to say that I would read. Like I've read Anna Karenina, which technically, I guess, is translated from Russian, but I wouldn't read it again. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the experience and everything like that, but I wouldn't read it again. I just, translated books. Would I read them in books from another language, everything? I have nothing against translated books. It's just that my jam is vintage and mysteries, and I just haven't really come across any translated books like that. So that answers that question. Dismal answer on that question. Okay. How many times would you reread the same book? Oh, lots. I mean, I probably read The Red Lamp, red being a color. I probably read that maybe 4 or 5 times. Dickens, A Christmas Carol. How old am I? I'm not telling you, but I've read it for a lot of years. So over 20. I've read that one over 20 times. Wind in the Willows, I probably read. Now, Wind in the Willows, I will break up. I won't read all of it. But I used to read all of it, but now I will read just sections of it when I want something beautiful, something very descriptive and beautiful. Like when I'm writing, I tend to reread things that bring to mind what I'm trying to convey. So, and I have read Jane Eyre a couple of times. Because that's one of my all-time favorite books, but it's a hefty one. And there's so much out there to read. I have read it more than once. I haven't read it recently, though. I've read Rebecca more than once. I'm coming up with more and more rereadings. What's the most recent book you have reread? The most recent book that I have reread has been, you guessed it, The Red Lamp. Because I found out that Heather was reading it, and I thought, oh, it needs to be fresh in my mind when she does a review. Hopefully she'll do a review. And I'm excited about that. So I read that. It only takes me about 3 days to read that book. It's not that long. But anyway, those are my answers to the questions. And I will post all the questions in the description box. And then I will tag a bunch of people. And we will go from there. I hope that everybody is having a wonderful Sunday. And I will check you later.